Jules, it is so nice to see you.
Thank you. It's so nice to see you too.
Looking gorgeous as always.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being here right now. And I wanted to first of all just ask you to share a little bit about you and what you do. And Jules and I were working together for a while, and yeah, she's amazing. So I can't wait to hear more about you and the results and everything else. So please, yeah, introduce yourself.
I'm Julia Darlington. What do I do? I'm a female entrepreneur and businesswoman. I had a very successful career in the fashion industry as an exec, and it enabled me to travel the world and meet wonderful people and do wonderful things. And after a stint in Australia, I trained as a coach. And upon my return, which I think is about 5 years ago now, 5 or 6 years ago, decided to set up my own business to coach and consult, which I've been doing, which has been fabulous. I now have a business where I work predominantly with women, not solely, but predominantly with women, coaching and mentoring from a business perspective. So female entrepreneurs who want to or to create and grow their businesses, as well as senior leaders within businesses and organizations, and I've consulted for various businesses, mainly in the fashion arena, developing product collections, helping with their teams, their processes, their people. So yes, I have a very varied life, which I love. My main focus being around empowering and supporting women, ultimately. I've also got quite involved in the world of investment, which links in very, very nicely with working with women who are developing businesses. So also can link them to the right people and networks after I've helped review their pitch decks, etc., help them then link in with the right people to get investment for their businesses. So
What I really loved about working with you and supporting you and all that you offer is that you walk the walk and talk the talk. And I think there are many coaches who launch businesses and have this idea of working with senior leaders, corporate women, entrepreneurs in the fashion industry or in product-based industries, but really don't understand the intricacies of actually what it takes to run a business, whereas you do. And what was always amazing was listening to the opportunities that you manifested in whilst we were together, and the sort of you are so relevant in your experience. And I think it's so unique to find a coach at your level who also has that sort of priceless experience, who has been through all of that. And so, yeah, I really loved that about us working together.
And I think, I know we're going to talk about, why I connected with you and the work we've done together and where I am now. And sort of jumping in a little bit to that, I think one of the things that you brought to the table for me was the realization, very conscious realization, that it wasn't, I was sort of taking that past life and that knowledge and achievement and all of those things, and being at the level I was at and being very successful and very senior and on the board and all of those things, and then somehow dropping myself. When I thought about the coaching and mentoring, it was suddenly, well, I'm not that. I'm now starting from here. And the work, one of the biggest things, and I know I'll jump around a little bit like I normally do, but one of the biggest things that I have achieved as a consequence of working with you is that realization, no, you're here. And it's about going from here to here, not starting again and going up. That's been really, really powerful. And I think the referencing externally and communication of, I was operating with businesses, multi-million pound businesses, and and generating multi-million profits for those businesses. And I wasn't shouting that from the rooftops, and I wasn't energetically embracing that, coming from a place of starting again and sort of lack and less than. Whereas I now feel that I've integrated it, rightly so. So yeah, sorry.
Beautiful. I love that. Now, you've just touched on what I was going to ask you next. So how are you feeling when we first connected? Like, what was going on with you when we came across each other? When you came across me, what was happening?
I'd like, we all went on a bit of a journey because of lockdown. So I had, due to consultative work that I'd been doing, I had become the chief brand officer for a business and become permanently employed. And then I stepped away from it literally just before lockdown, not great timing, but stepped away to go back into my business and work as a partner for a corporate finance organization, etc. So increase my learning. And then everything came crashing down around our ears and I went back to really focusing on the coaching side of things. And when we connected, when I first saw you, because it wasn't a meeting, it was an online, you were interviewing somebody online. When we connected, I was at a place where I think my business was ticking along, but it felt very painful, difficult. I wasn't bringing in sustainable income. And my sense of self-value and self-worth was a reflection of that. You know, the two things were interlinked. So I wasn't feeling confident. I knew I needed to go to the next level, and I knew I couldn't do it on my own. And I'd been looking for a coach to help me and just had not connected with any of the people that I'd spoken to. And I wanted to work with somebody who was where I wanted to be, but there had to be a connection, and I couldn't explain what the connection was. On a soul level, there had to be a connection. And when I saw you and heard you doing this interview, it was just immediate. I didn't even know you were a coach then. I don't even think I knew you were a coach, because it was through a different connection. I just thought, I need to work with that woman. So it was a very soul felt, I'm sort of pointing at my chest because it is a very sort of soul felt connection. So I was in a place where I knew I needed help. I was not in a good place from a personal mindset, self-worth, self-confidence place.
Thank you. And in terms of then, obviously we connected and we started working together. What were some of the ways in which we worked together that gave you what it gave you? So what were the shifts you experienced?
I think first and foremost, one thing I would say that really worked was the fact that I was seeing you so frequently. The fact that we had 3 sessions a month, it really kept the momentum, and I couldn't hide. You called the shit on me quite a few times. Held me accountable quite a few times. Called me out on my stories and things, which is I don't think anybody's done that before. So that was very powerful. But I think that the things that I'd almost separate them out into two areas, although they're not separate, they're joined, but to make it easier to explain. Mindset work and the practical, more tangible work that we did, and keep dovetailing and bringing them together. I think from a mindset perspective, like I've already alluded to, the focus on my self-worth, self-value, we did some really deep work on inner child stuff and stuff that had been packed away for a very, very long time that I sort of was aware of, but I wasn't aware of. I wasn't consciously aware of. And that was really important stuff. That really cleared the way, if you like. And there's still stuff there. You know, we've talked about that since. There's still stuff in there. But my God, there was a big block around self-worth and self-value, even though, you know, externally to the world, oh, it must be so perfect and you've got everything and it's all wonderful and rosy in the garden. But when I wasn't, and I've never used this, not hiding behind corporate, but when I wasn't in corporate anymore and it was me, there's nowhere to hide. It's you, isn't it? It's you. And I coach other people on this, but you can't do it to yourself as effectively. So that big mindset stuff around self-worth and being compensated for my value fairly, I think you shifted. One really big shift that took place, and this is mindset and being more pragmatic, stop measuring myself by the hour. Stop putting a value on me by the hour and charging clients by the hour. It was a real, you jumped from here to here and said, oh, I think that we need to be looking at this. And I was like, bloody hell, from where I was. That has been a game changer. And now when I have conversations with clients around, you know, my program, so it went to program and I was talking program, but I wasn't talking program. I was dividing it all down every time into sessions, but looking at it more from an end-to-end program and not working with the client for a session and then going away, and a session and then going away, and a session and then going away. Being able to model your approach with regards to, no, but this is a relationship and you're here for the client at all times, holding that space energetically at all times, whether you're on a call or not. That really worked for me, and as a consequence is really now worked for my clients. So I think that seeing it as I can't sort of put it clearly into words, it being much more holistic, it not being so sort of linear and putting it in boxes, it being a more holistic piece. I think getting clearer around, I was clear around my target audience in that it was women, but becoming more focused and clearer around which women and at which level. And again, going back to self-worth and value, I had been sitting in my comfort zone, really, and working with people that I didn't in any way feel threatened by. And you opened the door to that and shone a big light on it, which I hadn't let myself do. So that's now open, out in the open, which has enabled me to have conversations and develop business at a much higher level, which obviously there is a direct correlation in terms of earning potential as a consequence of that. So that shifted. So we did quite a lot of work together with regards to getting really clear on who that person was, how I was going to approach them, talk to them, reach out to them, communicate with them. So it gave me some tangible stuff, not just the other stuff. So that was really, really powerful. I think what attracted me in the first place, but I wouldn't have been able to verbalize it, definitely working together, it was around bringing at all times the inner soul, subconscious stuff every time to the coaching. So it wasn't, okay, I'm going to coach you in business and it's very step-by-step pragmatic. It was much more holistic. Does that make sense?
Beautiful. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And you talked about some of the practical shifts that you had. Is there anything more that you want to add there around
I've, as a consequence of the work that we've done and you sharing with me your blueprints and your generosity around sharing, I had a group business program that I had done before lockdown, which was, it was the first step in that direction, first dipping my toes in the water. But what you've provided and the blueprints that you've provided has enabled me to go back and really refine my program. I'm running a group program at the moment, and it's also helped me develop some additional programs that I've talked about a lot but never done. So I think you sharing how you've communicated externally, one of the biggest things, and I'm not there yet, but your marketing knowledge and skills with regards to social media, putting yourself out there, is it's been very powerful in terms of a model of how to do it and actually see it in action, whether I've done it and whether it makes me feel comfortable doing it, because obviously I'm not you, so I have to find the way that works for me. But it's really difficult to ascertain actually how much I've learned from it, because it's, we worked together for over a year, didn't we? So I was going back trying to sort of look at some of the stuff I had at the beginning to remind myself how far we've come. But I think from that practical perspective, being able to put some of that marketing knowledge, templating, modeling, very tangibly, having access to your program, your programs that you've run as part of working with you has really helped. The access that you gave me to some of your network, I'm thinking specifically around, Jed, etc., and giving me another perspective on things as well. That all of putting it all together, it's been a very sort of multifaceted experience. I'm sure there's other stuff in there, Jodie, which I can't bring to mind.
Okay.
You'd have to interview me for hours, wouldn't you? Get it all out. You're going to get it all out.
And so what we've talked about, just to summarize, is where you were, the results and shifts that you've had. Where are you now, and how are you? Who is this woman?
Oh, this woman is marvelous. Who am I now as an individual, as a person, as Julia Darlington? I'm a successful businesswoman, as I was before, but I'm a successful businesswoman that now really believes in myself and believes in my value, and I can talk it very comfortably, actually, with prospective clients and other people, very comfortably. And I can see and believe. I think that's the biggest thing, isn't it, around self-belief, where I knew where I wanted to go, but I didn't really believe I could get there. And now that big target goal, money, is much more tangible. And I'm really confident about talking about that. And I don't feel in any way embarrassed by it or that I have to hide behind it. I know what I want. I'm going to bloody go and get it. In terms of tangible results, I've gone back to 6 figures, which I'd lost. So that's really, really positive. So I've had the biggest month I've ever had, whether I was in, when I was working corporate. So the biggest month I've ever had. So from a financial perspective, I'll be lying to say it's consistent every month, because it's not. But you brought that to the table as well, actually, to make me realize, well, the reality in terms of if you're not working within a corporate environment where you're going to be paid a paycheck at the end of every month, it's never going to be consistent in the same way. So get comfortable with it. So it's that, you get really comfortable with being uncomfortable all the time. But it has shown me what I can achieve. It has really shown me what I can achieve. So I think that clarity around, a greater clarity around the goal and the target, the mindset work, which I'm such a believer in anyway, but I think I'm very good at telling other people, but actually practicing it myself, that has become much more, it's an everyday, and it's the way I choose to operate, and have more and more belief around that, because I can see it working. I can see it manifesting. I can see it happening. Not all the time, but yes, some very sort of serendipitous events have taken place recently, actually, which I think for me is proof that it's working.
Amazing. Great. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to share before we meet each other?
I would say to anybody that is contemplating finding, and I don't want to call you a coach because it's putting you in a box. I would highly, highly recommend anybody who's thinking about it just to do it. Just do it, because working with you has been a pleasure. It has been a pleasure. It has been an emotional roller coaster at times, but that's what I needed. That's what I needed. And you hold the space and have the absolute highest intention for all your clients, for them to reach. I mean, I believe this so much for myself, but reach for the stars, and really, you'll think even higher than the client will think. So you made me think even more for me, that I could be even more. And I thank you for that. Ever. So don't you get me emotional.
So
yeah.
Thank you. Oh, I got emotional too.
I know. But thank you. Huge thank you.
And so much more to come for you as well, which is so exciting.